Here's one of the most common questions you get in your email. How do I authenticate a signature?
Well, authenticating a signature, Steph, is a weird word because are you authenticating it or are you trying to find whether or not it's a forgery? So when people tend to Google the word authenticate, their agenda is to say, hey, this is a real signature. And so I kind of even know before they call, they've got a Pete Rose baseball card, they've got a football. They're trying to establish the value of something because they use the word authenticate. And some people honestly just don't know the difference. They've got a will, they've got a title, and they're searching for what word is the right word for this. So the problem with authenticate, as far as a phrase that Google gives you, is you're going to get a lot of baseball card collectors, you're going to get collectible magazines, you're going to get painting authenticators, which is like a real painting. And what most people, at least my clients, is they want to establish whether or not a signature or a document is legit. For example, if let's say your grandmother dies, God forbid she doesn't die, right? If she dies, there's a will. They call it last will and testament. And on that will is some signatures and some witness signatures. We want to know, are those signatures authentic or are they forged? So I would Google how to hire a handwriting expert, how to hire an expert to determine the authenticity of a signature, right? But some people just go, hey, I want to authenticate this signature. Do you know anyone's ever hired a handwriting expert?
A client of mine. I remember her grandfather left her a fortune, and so she thought, and then her uncle had a different will, and apparently he left the fortune to him instead.
Her granddad dies, right? She thinks she's about to inherit millions of dollars, and then all of a sudden, 2 wills pop up. What would you do? What would the first step be? You'd hire a lawyer?
I would probably ask Google, where should I start?
You want to hire a lawyer because you're going to have to go to some place called probate. Do you know what probate court is?
The court that determines where all the dead person's stuff goes, right?
Kind of, yeah. So basically, if you're in criminal court, it means a cop arrested you. If you're in civil court, it means somebody sued you or you're suing somebody, like 2 corporations. Yeah. Like, for example, O.J. Simpson, he actually had 2 lawsuits. He had a criminal trial, which everybody watched him in the pickup truck, and did he kill Ron Goldman, right? And then he had a civil trial. And the civil trial was the family of the dead woman suing him, and he lost. So that's the 2 different courts. Probate is a totally different court. All they handle is people's estates. And in those courts are judges that are fantastic lie detectors. And they're looking at all these family members, figuring out which one is lying. And all of a sudden, this brother comes in and says, hey, yeah, I love my mom. I was the best. My mom loved me best. She gave me everything. Or the housekeeper. Or the person that was like the caretaker. They go, yeah, she gave me everything. You know, John lives in Wyoming. He never visits her. And all of a sudden they come up with this cranky will that's handwritten by a 5-year-old. And the judge looks at it and says, I don't know if this is legitimate. Why don't you get a forensic handwriting expert? And that is how a lot of our clients come to it, because the court either recommends me, the lawyers recommend me, or one of our people, and they have to figure out whether it's authentic. They had to hire a handwriting expert in order to fight that. Am I correct?
Yes, I think it's still going.
Yeah, and if I recall that case correctly, it wasn't just a handwriting expert. They tested the paper, they tested the ink, they're trying to figure out how old it is. They had a lot of money invested in whether or not this document's authentic. Now again, if you've got a $25 million estate you're fighting over, it makes sense to pour money into a lawsuit. But I had a client that was fighting over a $3,000 pickup truck. I was like, why are you paying me $1,000? He's like, it's not the pickup truck's value. It's my granddad's pickup truck. And my wife took it, my ex-wife, and I want it back. And so it was all sentimental. So it was worth going to court and fighting over it just because it was sentimental. So you get all kinds of cases in this business. And so your question again was, how do you authenticate a signature? You're looking for a forensic document examiner. Do not hire a graphologist. That's something different. Do not hire a forensic accountant. Do not hire an attorney to be a handwriting expert. You need to get a forensic handwriting expert, or really forensic document examiner who specializes in handwriting. Those phrases in Google will help you find exactly what you need. Or just go to the directory that I own called handwritingexperts.com. We've curated some of the best in the country, and you can hire anybody off that page.
Why would they hire anyone else other than you?
Because they don't know.
But I'm telling them right now that they should hire you because you have been doing it my entire life.
I have been doing this a long time. I have an interesting ability to scan documents and quickly see patterns because I've looked at handwriting since I was 14 years old. Fascinating case. We have a case right now, which I can't say names, but there is a employee writing really, really ugly letters to the owner of this particular business. And so they sent me 25 samples of the employee's handwriting and said, which one of these wrote the envelope? Because this person is causing problems. And what's interesting, out of those 25 samples, about 20 of them, it took me like 20 seconds. Looked at it and I'm like, nope, not it. Because my pattern recognition is so like tuned in, kind of like a pilot or advanced, anything that anybody has mastery. Now, 5 of those, now we got to get the details, get the microscope out and look at every word and the angles and the stuff. But, right off the bat, I'm like, that person is too dumb to write the way the person wrote them. That person writes too large. That person writes too small. That person's from a different country. This person, it was fascinating. So we actually narrowed it down to somebody that was not born in the U.S., and that really helped the detective start investigating which one of the hundreds of employees it could have been. It's like, okay, this person wasn't born in the U.S. Who on our docket was not born in the U.S.? Okay, this looks like Ukrainian writing. Let's start with the Eastern European people. So fascinating what you can get from handwriting, and if you hire a good handwriting expert. But you're right. They should absolutely only hire me and never, ever. No, I don't have time, Steph. I can't take more customers. I barely get 2 weeks vacation as it is. So don't hire me. Wait a minute. No, you definitely should hire me.
I would hire you.
Thank you.